And we are back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a little bit, but we are back finally to finish up part 4 of 61 period life lessons from Papa on and off the court by Chris Paul with Michael Wilbon. And we are jumping right into chapter 18, finishing it off, guys.
You got to introduce us.
And oh yes, my name is Chase. I'm here with Landon and Miguel, our co-hosts, my co-hosts,
There we go.
the book club bros.
We took some time
Bros.
off, so we're a little out of whack.
Yeah, this is actually our first podcast with you
It's-
guys. But yeah,
New logo.
new logo, new look, new feel, same old bad intro. But yeah, so do we just want to dive right into it real quick?
Yeah,
I know
Finishing
Miguel,
off the book.
Miguel, now, okay, if you guys are watching and you actually see us, Miguel does not have his book, but
For good reason.
I think Landon, we should give him a pass.
Yeah, this has got to be.
for good
We'll give him
reason.
a pass. On
We'll
this
give him
one.
a pass on this episode because he actually was talking to his buddy and he donated 61 life lessons, this book, to him.
Yes.
And what did he say? He said, man,
Chris Paul.
He said the same thing I said. when I picked the
Exact
book.
reaction. Chris Paul, bro. I don't want to read about Chris Paul. Like, dang,
awesome.
bro.
The reason is twofold. Also, we're gonna let him off the hook because we're wrapping this book, and we don't want him introducing this book with the cone head.
I
Yeah,
kind of would.
That's not
I
right.
kind of would.
I don't want him introducing this
Thanks,
book with
guys.
the
There
cone
you
head.
go. All right.
Yeah, no, we're good. It's all for a good cause. Let's get this thing kicked off
Let's
with
fly
chapter
through.
18, baby.
Chapter 18. It takes a village helping family helping family.
I went straight out, highlighted the quote. It says, "Don't marry your career and date your family." Kevin Hart. I like that.
It's a
Yeah,
really good one.
that is
It's
a really good one.
really,
Yeah.
really good one. If you
Yeah.
want to have good work-life balance.
And then I highlighted actually the little portion underneath that. He said, I understand the notion of committing to work when everyone else is asleep, but nobody gets there alone. For starters, one can't be self-made. You're only here because your parents or whoever had a hand in raising you, and you need that tribe to mold and shape you. The reality is, the further you get in life, the more successful you become, the more you need to rely on others.
I highlighted that exact thing.
Yeah.
It's really good. So true, though.
Yeah. That
I
you can't-
mean, yeah,
can't
it
do
won't
all by
work
yourself.
because you do see the people that like the more they do, they try to hang on to their responsibilities and they just unravel. Like we have a perfect example of where we used to work at and stuff like that. You can see if you try to keep control of everything and don't delegate is the word they use in the
Yeah.
professional realm. Like if you do try to just keep it all to yourself, the thing is to bring it back to the 48 laws of power, it kind of goes against that one law where it's like, don't teach your skills because then you won't be, if you teach your skills to everyone, then they won't be able to rely on you or something like that. Like
Yeah.
but if you want to really reach your highest like level, you're going to need people to help you, like
Yeah.
people that you trust. and
Yeah, I
people
think
to bounce off.
I think it's a balance, between 48 laws and this. It's like rely on others, but don't give them everything
Yeah.
when it comes to like the 48 laws
For sure.
thought process. I had another highlight on 251. I thought that was just interesting, but did you guys have anything?
No, actually I had a few highlights on 251 just about the trainer. Is that kind of what you were
Yeah,
looking at?
the Eden Rabin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Eden Ravin.
He never played professional basketball, period, but was still able to train guys at the highest level. What's interesting about him is he's a lawyer by trade who at some point in his career became unhappy with practicing law, and now he trains the most elite basketball players on earth.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
what?
what's so cool. I mean, really, it just comes down to having, because that's what I think. It comes down to having like a love for like, you have to have a love for the game and then like what goes into it. Because legitimately, that's kind of like what you can see in Miguel whenever like, because you've trained like some of that stuff before. Like, you can do a lot of stuff really well that I wouldn't be able to do just because you've hammered it so many times.
Mhm.
Like if you're not the most skilled, like it's one of those things where muscle memory and stuff like that, if you really like become dedicated to it, you've seen guys who can walk into a gym, they can't play basketball, but they can make 100 threes in a row because that's just like what they do. Like they
Mm.
just go there, they shoot threes. I think it's so interesting that like if you really, work to learn at whatever the skill is that you're trying to do, like we're humans, we can adapt and like
Mhm.
learn new skills and master new skills.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Even if it's like you're not maybe the most athletic. And it's crazy. He said he had like a change of heart just didn't want to be a lawyer anymore, and like, and like if you're going to school for whatever, you're going to school. If you're going to school to be a lawyer, you're going to school to be a lawyer until you die.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
'Cause
Like
that's a-
like in
that's a
general, like that's a
lifelong-
lot. That's a lifelong
12 years
career.
of school.
See what I'm saying?
Heck
So
of
like,
debt, yeah.
so like if someone like that was so dedicated to that can just like be able to move, that's where I feel like he said he was unhappy. So then move.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool that he was able to make that
Yeah,
transition.
I
like
can't
that.
imagine that shift though. Telling
Right?
like your family and stuff, or
Right.
like what stage he was at, where
A lawyer, right?
full-fledged lawyer, and you'd be like, yeah, nah, I'm done with this. You're
Because the money can't be there for a 1-to-1 as a basketball trainer, right? If you're like
Initially.
if you're initially,
no
right?
way.
Exactly.
True.
you know,
It's interesting.
because you got to build up that repertoire to even get to the elite where you're training all these guys. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. But yeah,
that-
I had something else on 255, but that's about it for me.
On 254, I like that story. But it probably ties into 255 where he's talking about where he played. This is actually a really cool story. Just if you follow the NBA,
Chris
like
Paul,
Gilbert
right?
Arenas,
Yeah.
Gilbert Arenas, like was playing
Yep.
for the Bucks, came back and like drilled this whole workout with Chris Paul as he was getting ready to come into the league. And I thought it was cool, especially, and I like that Chris Paul took time to notice that because he even says like the fact that Gil took his time to come back and help me out by working out with me, it meant the world. Like he didn't have to wake up early that day in his off season to help me out. He was young in the NBA, rich. Gil could have been on a yacht spending time with his family or doing whatever, but like I think it's really cool to see that's how you form those like real close relationships.
Yeah.
It's like in those moments. It's not like actually on the court or whatever. It's like it's the behind the scenes stuff like that.
And that was for when Chris Paul was training for the league.
to get
Yes,
into the
yeah, to
NBA,
get
and
into
Gilbert
it.
had been in it for
Yeah.
a minute. So I
Yeah.
thought that was cool.
It's crazy. He said he was cooking him the whole time. too.
Exactly.
That was hilarious.
And like at the same time, like a lot of this stuff is like under the table. Like
Yeah.
it could be like, hey man, like I want to get this vet in here because he's gonna let me put in work. Like you don't even realize like some of that stuff that's going on. And whenever the podcasts and stuff like that come out now, I love that aspect of it because you get to hear these NBA players actually tell you what's going on. And now obviously it's gonna clash with maybe what some of the media and stuff like that's gonna say, and it'll be like a battle on whatever side you want to choose to believe in some instances. But like I think it's so cool that like they can claim their stuff and like say what they think's going on from their point of view, because they might just be like, Gilbert Arenas is like, you don't know what someone was saying about that, but this is the way that it played out to Chris. So I don't know. I thought that was cool
Yeah, bro. Interesting perspective. Get it.
perspective for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, and then another one on 255 that I highlighted was when he got drafted. He goes in and says, and he quotes, "I really missed my family when I first got to the NBA. No one ever tells you how lonely the NBA can be at times, especially for a rookie." And I was like, dang, like, and then he kind of goes into it how luckily though, he was living on his own, but then his brother CJ moved in with him and kept him on track and stuff like that. But yeah, it's true, man. Like, what are you, 17 now sometimes?
Mhm.
17 and 19, getting drafted,
Dude, it's
a
crazy.
whole different world, and you're
Imagine
playing
that.
against these guys that have been in the league for 10,
Years.
15 years.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a whole different world? Listen to any of the rookies that get drafted to the Raptors. So they got instead of going straight to the play, they got to get their visa. If they don't have it, they got to get their passport. And then you go to Toronto,
Yeah.
and like your family like can't like the being able to get over there and back and stuff like that. Sometimes a little bit tougher. And they're like I've heard a few like podcasts of like rookies that went to Toronto that are like full-fledged depressed their first year. Like can't even really get a hold of my family back home as much. Like
Dude, that's crazy.
I
and
never
then like
even
that,
thought of that.
that's
Like,
gonna
legit-
rock
like-
you.
like
Yeah.
DeMar
How do
DeRozan
you
got drafted by the
perform well?
and like so and here's another thing, right? So like DeMar DeRozan's story is crazy. Like he worked out for the Lakers. He's a SoCal kid. Would have been able to stay home, and instead they skipped up on him, and then he went to the Raptors right after that, and he didn't even work out for him. So like the Raptors weren't even like a thing. And then like
Wow.
all of a sudden, like you don't even realize it. Instead of your life being right there in your backyard, you're going to Toronto, and you had no like. If anything, you're like, okay, maybe I'm going to the Warriors or to the Blazers or to something. But like the Raptors is like the Raptors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like so. I mean, I can't imagine that for like
That is
for
so
some of these
interesting.
kids, man.
I really never thought of that. Being
Yeah.
in a whole new country at that, and you have to get your visa.
And imagine the
Wow.
NBA whenever DeRozan was coming up. Like I can't remember some of the vets that he was talking about, but he's
Mhm.
like, dude, like the NBA used to be like the same way where you get in trouble for like if you're Aaron Rodgers and you don't mentor, or if you're Joe Flacco and you don't mentor. It used to be like you are getting worked against as a rookie. Like all the vets are on the team to try to stay together to keep the rookies out. Everyone hated LeBron on the Cavs. He was the best player. They hated him because he was the rookie. So the NBA has kind of undergone like a culture shift where it is more of like it feels more like a team,
Inclusive.
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
inclusive type thing. Like I feel like the whole hazing thing, like we've had to move away from that, especially
Yeah,
like with.
for
I'm sure it still comes. Though.
No, it still
Yeah.
comes, but
Yeah.
like even
In
with
a
the
mild
broadcasting
form.
of it,
Yeah.
like like the negatives of it, but like, yeah, it's a crazy thing to think about for these athletes, honestly.
Yeah. Moving on. I didn't really have anything else for chapter 18. Did you, Landon?
Not too much, no, not really.
19. This is where we find out about Chris Paul's grandpa, which that was shocking to me.
Yeah, bro.
He got murdered.
Yeah.
I was like, no way, because I'm sure you guys actually heard about it
I
at the
didn't even-
time.
Not much,
I
man.
don't think I
much?
heard. Yeah.
Not much. And this was
Honestly.
pretty young, right? So he's in high school, right?
Mhm.
You got to think we're
Yeah,
probably
that's
like,
true.
dude, we're probably like 2 years old if you think about it, because he's what 30.
Nah,
He's like
probably-
37 and we're
probably early
25.
teens.
So he's 10 years older than us.
Yeah.
Super.
So we were
young.
like 6 or 5 if he was like 16.
Nah, you're forgetting to carry one, brother. We're 25.
25, and so we're 10 years younger than him.
Yeah.
At this age he's 17. So at this age
Oh,
we're
okay,
7.
okay.
Yeah.
I see,
So
I see.
we were little.
Yeah,
Dang.
you got you. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Stand down, soldier.
But yeah, man, I thought that was crazy. By just a group of kids, and then the whole thing
Dude,
about
it's tough. Dude, I
the
thought it was crazy
trial.
how we found out. It said like he started walking real fast away from the game, like once he had gotten the phone call, and then like on the way, he said he ran into one of his older cousins, Jeff, who was at the game, and he grabbed him and said, "Jeff, what happened?" And he goes, "They killed him. They killed your papa."
Yeah.
I was like, I wrote down to the side. Can you imagine finding out that way? Like you just like you're hearing stuff, you're not sure, and then like you're going, you see this random uncle, and he's like, "Hey, they killed your papa."
Yeah, or
They
like
killed him.
even the way his
CJ
brother,
found out.
Yeah,
yeah,
your
yeah.
papa's sick. Nah.
And they
he's-
like
yeah.
Pulls up.
or
and
like what
finds
you would.
out.
I mean, what do you do, right? If we're all, you're especially
Yeah.
like, well, I mean, how do you handle that as a parent? That'd
Yeah,
be
bro.
tough.
Yeah.
God, that'd be tough.
Couldn't even imagine.
No, getting that call, no, thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, crazy. And then they finally did evict him though. There was a whole thing with the trial,
Mm-hmm.
and then it went into a retrial.
That would be tough, man.
And yeah, so all those old scars and stuff and all that just coping had to get redone again.
Yeah. I mean, them talking about it in the media too, just like openly discussing all those things that
crazy.
happen. And it's so bad. Like the situation itself is just terrible, bro. Like it's just an old man just minding his business.
Not even that though. Like doing so much good.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
it's in the same. It's in the same line of, you don't want Kobe to die, obviously,
Mhm.
but he was gonna do so much good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like he was in the middle. I mean, and people are gonna carry that torch, but no one does it like the one that's doing it.
Right.
So like,
Very true.
you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
like,
no, there'll never
he
be
could have
another
left a
Kobe.
blue. He
Yeah.
could have left the literal blueprint for what he was gonna do, and it's not gonna turn out the way it could have,
Yeah.
Mhm.
because you don't have Kobe there bouncing the stuff back and forth. Like, I think it's sad to see it play out like that, and especially the way that it was described. Like they were really just looking for someone to rob. He didn't do anything. It's
Mhm.
obvious. Like
Yeah.
it was all just
Horrible timing.
right.
Yeah.
And
Stuff like
then-
that gives me like crazy like just being grateful whenever you make it from place to place
Yeah.
Mhm.
and stuff like that. Just taking
Mhm.
moments like that, because
Yeah.
it's crazy.
No, I agree. Chapter
Yeah.
20. This is when we figure out the
Into the game.
end of the game. Finally, his high school game. It took the entire book, but we got to it, and
You were right. We find out. You had to feel great. It was 67.
yeah.
So it was. I don't know. So I don't
did
even know.
feel pretty good when I
Dude,
read that.
I know. I was
like,
reading
oh,
it and
yeah,
I
yeah.
highlighted it. He said he was 6. But they never really talked about it.
Yeah.
So like, or maybe they did and I missed it, and you had subconsciously picked it up like early on. But like,
I swear I thought it was 62.
so you were with me.
Yeah,
That's what
I
I
thought it
thought
was
too, because I
62,
was
bro.
like, because in my head I was like, why miss the
See,
free throw? But it
the
was just to
media
keep
lied
it
to you
at
guys.
61.
The media
He missed the
lied
free
you
throw to
guys.
keep it at 61. Because in my head I was like, I just don't get why you come up 5 points short instead of 6 points short. It was because to keep it at 61, which makes sense.
Bro, Yeah, I read that. I was like, yep.
But how did you see how he did it? He said without even getting into my free throw motion, he just picked the ball up and threw it out of
Yeah.
bounds. Could you imagine that? It's like one of those. What a statement, man.
Yeah.
What a statement. And at that age, what's crazy about that, just to go Galaxy brain for a second, is he wasn't Chris Paul yet.
Mhm.
So, like,
Galaxy
I mean, how many
brain.
people are, like, doing that stuff?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
like if he didn't turn into Chris Paul, then he wouldn't have had a book written about it.
Yeah.
But how many other people, like, are just going through it, man, and just pour it all out there, get it done, and then just go on and become an accountant. But, like, in that
Yeah.
moment, like, that moment is just so crazy and stuff. Like, you see it in sports all the time. I know you guys don't watch baseball as much, but, like, whenever, you'll probably remember this, whenever D. Gordon hit that home run after Jose Fernandez had passed
oh, yeah,
away,
yeah.
and, like, was just, he had his helmet on and was just hitting his chest. He hadn't hit a home run in, like, 5 years. He hits a home run on the first pitch to lead off the game, right at, like, just different stuff like that,
Wait,
man.
he went up there lefty or something first.
He's left hand. Yeah, he is.
Eric.
He went up there right-handed first for Jose
Forehand,
Fernandez.
yeah.
Then he turned around to the left side and just smacked it out of the
Yeah,
park.
that was just
Wow.
crazy.
Dude,
Yeah,
Dude, it was like
that was like a weird like God moment.
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
So I mean, it was kind of one of those things. I think sports is just like such a clear example where you can see that stuff just play out. Like
Yeah.
Isaiah Thomas when his sister passed away for the Celtics,
Mhm.
going out there and playing
He
that
went
playoff,
crazy.
going crazy. Like
yeah.
it's just different stuff like that.
Wow.
It's kind of cool to see.
Moving on to 21, chapter 21, rest and power, Papa.
Get the quote. You will face many defeats in life, but never let yourself be defeated. Maya Angelou. I like that.
Very
Good.
I
Gotta
love
keep
the
your head up.
quotes. I love the
Yeah.
quotes. This
Yeah.
was a tough read. He had the whole obituary that he was
Mhm.
walking around with.
Yeah.
That's kind of a crazy thing too.
And he
Yeah.
kept it with him.
that he
I always
kept it with him.
liked what he said though, Papa. You know, I am, or how are you? His response would always be, I am blessed and highly favored in the Lord. Thought that was really good.
That's a great way to be remembered.
And I thought it was really cool also
We highlighted the same thing. I already see it.
the chevron
Yeah.
logo. Bro, I've never I've never.
I want to go back and look now. I that's why I highlighted it too. Is apparently every pair of shoes he made sure to have the Jones Chevron logo. It's probably like some gradient type thing where you can only just see it from like something
yeah,
super subtle,
something
right? You'd
has to be.
imagine, right?
But well,
Because
I was
Giannis
wondering
puts his family
how
names and stuff
many-
all over the
how
place.
many shoes
Yeah,
has
he
Chris
does.
Paul had?
He's had a good amount,
Does
like
he?
with Jordan.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's at the end of his career now, so like
Right, because
he doesn't get like
heard
mainstream like
anything
Zion and
new.
them.
Yeah.
But I used to get Chris Paul shoes at Burlington all the time.
Oh,
We used to sell them. You didn't even know it.
there you go.
We used to sell Chris Pauls.
But
Could barely even stand them. Now we're reading about them.
all right, chapter 22, the aftermath. I didn't really have anything for this 20 or 23 from my.
I thought the only thing I highlighted on 292 was kind of what we've talked about. He said, as reporters asked questions, the pain I felt, and CJ, holding his mom and Aunt Rhonda all came back. And then fast forward to reality, where talking heads and reporters thinks it's completely okay to play around with other people's trauma and the darkest things from their past just so they can have a headline. And I was like, man, like that's the as someone who was an athlete, but obviously not to the notoriety of that, and who really enjoys being able to watch the media just because it's talking about what you got in the meantime, what you're watching, like that has to be like the ultimate double-edged sword.
yeah.
Like-
Being under the microscope.
Yep. Constantly.
Yep, you got the attention, but you
It
don't
does
know
so
what that
much for
attention's
you, and it does so much to you.
Yeah. I don't know. I was listening to a podcast and the guy was saying like people shouldn't like it's unnatural for humans to be put on that type of pedestal.
like
Mm.
Chris Paul went like
no, just
or-
being like famous to that level in general.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
what it
people
does to your
should-
psyche
yeah,
type thing.
like people should not have that much like notoriety and fame. Like it's unnatural for humans just on a basic level to have that much.
Example 101. Almost everybody you ask is famous doesn't want it.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, almost everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, because like I guess that's the one thing, right? I guess if I could really choose, I wouldn't even want to be a famous athlete, because then you have to lean into that your whole life,
Mhm.
because otherwise there really is no just going to the grocery store,
Exactly.
like just being in the crowd. Like I mean, to a certain point, that'd be so cool. You're Steph Curry at the Masters, or you're
Mhm.
Steph Curry at the Super Bowl, and no matter what, like you're always getting that benefit. But I mean, I feel you guys are probably the same way. You'd probably rather just go to the suite. Like if you could have
Yeah.
all the money and just be in the suite and just be one of the people there, rather than like, oh, Patrick Mahomes or Steph Curry's coming out to throw the halftime toss too, and like all the
Yeah.
being entrenched in it. Like it'd be super cool, but like,
Never real privacy.
man,
Yeah,
and I don't,
exactly,
and I
bro.
feel like if whenever you're a kid too, especially, and you want to compete so hard, you really can't be thinking about all that other stuff that comes
Nah.
with it, like at all. Like I
No.
mean, now they're trying to feed that. I feel like kids want that more these days.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well,
Maybe.
yeah. I mean, they've
Kids want it
given.
more these days,
I
but
mean,
like,
most kids want to be YouTubers, so they
Yeah.
want that attention, they want that stuff. But then, yeah, they don't realize the side effect of it, like how bad the psyche is when it is all hate or anything
Mhm.
like that.
like all hate. Yeah,
Yeah, bro, it's interesting because then, like you said, no real privacy.
no real privacy.
Nah,
never.
yeah,
I
definitely.
mean, Travis Kelsey's buying mansions out in Kansas City just to get an ounce of privacy
Yeah.
with Taylor Swift. It's crazy.
And it still won't. Still
Yeah.
No,
won't.
it's not. It's
There'll
just
be drones.
yeah.
Yeah. There's
Somebody
no
will
tech,
find a way, bro.
Oh man.
Government's watching.
but-
Jeez.
That's all I really had. And then it kind of wraps up, and they talks a little bit of like a tiny bit about the bubble in the league, and
Well, I couldn't believe
That
how
was
long
it.
it took to play out. That was one thing I said. On April 28th, 2022,
the
is when they were
trial
convicted. Is when they finally got convicted.
Mhm.
again.
I felt so bad for him, like the fact that she was trying to recant her thing, and then like basically like once it got reopened, like basically say, hey, that was all a lie, because so much time had passed. Like you can just
Yeah.
blanket say that. Like in that moment, she was probably like, yo, this was awful. What happened? I gotta kind of say something.
Mhm.
And like that was what was taken on the record, and then like it was all reopened. Like so much time has passed. She's probably maybe still friends with them or something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, that was nuts.
And then
Brings us to basically the end. Yeah, you were talking about the bubble a little bit. I thought it was cool how they just to see what the decision making that went into like some of that stuff that was playing out.
Mhm.
Like since he was the NBA PA,
oh yeah, like, the
we got to
decisions
see
of
the
which-
decision. Like we got to see the thought process of the person who decided the bubble.
Mhm.
I
like,
thought it was very yeah.
That's crazy.
I
Like
thought it was interesting, like how like they were given option. When I saw those those quotes or whatever the slogans were,
Mhm.
like I thought like players chose them,
they did.
but like I thought it was like they could choose anything.
They had
Oh,
it. They
yeah.
basically could choose anything. They had to submit it though, and it had to be approved. So this
Yeah.
isn't the full list. Like I know, I just watched a podcast with Andre Iguodala, and his on the back was called, oh, what was it called? I think it was called Social Reform.
Mhm.
Is what he did. Like
Oh,
his was
okay.
more like business business
Gotcha.
minded. Like I actually highlighted that point you were talking about because it says like we came to the solution when they were deciding what they wanted to do to make a change, and now everyone will remember this. They got to put whatever they wanted on the back of their jersey, which was like crazy. Like
Yeah.
that was a crazy thing that no one else had done or was doing before. So shout out to the NBA for being like ultra progressive. You got the in-season tournament, like they're always the ones pushing stuff forward. But like it says everyone pays attention to the NBA and the messages we put out. So instead of having our names on the backs of our jerseys, maybe every player should be able to share an important message. So he says, imagine the best basketball players in the world with a stage like no other, able to remind you that throughout the entire game, over and over, about a message that was important to them. And I highlighted that and I said, like he said the entire book and how he lives his life, I just put strategic.
Mhm.
Like he's sitting there, what we can't do anything too much, but what's the most we can do? And he's like, this. It had everybody talking. You were just reading the backs of the names just to see what they were. It's like you even knew the players all along. You just wanted to see what the names were. And I
Yeah.
was like, what a like. Obviously, it's here and gone. You can't do it forever. But like in that moment, it was a huge thing, and I remember that. And I'm like, it's kind of cool that they were taking careful thought on to what they could do to like
Yeah.
make change. It's cool.
Yeah. And then that was basically it.
Brings us all the way. Did you read the epilogue? I don't even think I highlighted anything from it.
I think I did, but yeah,
I
didn't-
read it. Didn't have any highlights.
Yeah. But yeah, overall final thoughts.
Oh, here we go. How about biggest takeaways? I actually highlighted mine, but if you guys want to go first, or I can go.
Yeah, I can go.
So what was
first.
your? Yeah, just anything. What do you
Mine
got?
was
biggest takeaway from this.
learned a lot about CP3. Papa was a great guy. Sad that he went by murder. And then third, I wish there was a little bit more of him in the league compared to his upbringing. I wish I wanted to know
He
more
would probably
about
write
that.
a book about
So-
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, I thought it was a pretty solid book.
Mhm.
What you got? Just
I
anything
think-
quick. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think that just showing how hard work can pay off was one of the big things. just staying true to your roots and understanding where you come from definitely helps project you to a further spot in life. And also having love and support from your
Yeah, the
family,
community.
just it does wonders for a child.
That's great. But my point's basically built off of everything you just said. I said like hardworking ethics being instilled at a young age. I said like that can and should change like the landscape of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously it's a whole having parents present, having like, parenting. Like having people at a young age, you can see what it did for him.
Oh,
It turned
yeah.
him into Chris Paul. Having a papa like that. I put down don't delay gratitude like he was saying, especially with your family, because like with this papa, you never know what's gonna happen. 2 more. I had your community around you matters a ton because it shapes you and kind of enables you to grow like without fear. Like I think the fact, like you said, he had his brother came and lived with him. That's family. They would every Thursdays in the off season eating together, having big meals. That's family. Like having a community makes you feel like you have more purpose. I think people agree with that.
Yeah.
Like the more, it's not like you want to have a million friends, but the more people that it sounds cliche, but the more people that like you because you're a good person, like just the better you feel. You feel like you have
Mm-hmm.
more of a community to kind of lean on. And then the last thing I would put down was, I want to work on myself to be able to inspire someone the way Papa did for Chris. Like
Mhm.
I think it would be cool to be Papa for somebody like down
Mhm.
the line whenever you can kind of get yourself to that stage, because the way he's described, and obviously it's through the lens of a kid, so it'd be kind of cool. It'd be so cool to like talk to Chris's parents about Papa. You ever thought about that? From a kid, you may think that your idol's your idol. Like, what
Right.
if, I don't want to even say that about Papa, but it'd be interesting to see. But I just want to be someone who could like inspire that type of, lived his life to honor him,
Yeah.
basically. Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and written a whole book about him.
Write a whole
Yeah,
book
man.
about him.
That's
Yeah.
good, bro.
All right, that wraps up 61 life lessons. From
61.
61.
61, period, space,
I
breathe
mean-
in, breathe out, life,
Life
lessons.
lessons.
I mean, I can easily see where the struggle was coming from,
That was
especially
great,
on the
bro.
last one. All right, here we go. That wraps up our first
Shout out to Chris Paul.
autobiography. Now it is time to see.
Is this 9?
Is this book
You
9?
started, so it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
Yep, about to be book number 9.
Book
Bro,
9.
really?
Book number
Already?
9.
Dude, I know, right?
We're about to get a.
Is it weird?
about
We've been
to get
doing
a
this for
dozen.
9 months.
It does. It's a good way to track.
Bro, 9 months?
9 months
9
of reading.
months.
Dude, it doesn't feel like that at all.
And we
no.
mi-
And we're burning through
Yeah.
books, man.
but we haven't missed it. It has been 9 because if we skip, we always just combine.
Yeah.
So really, it's just
Catch up.
it's been 9 months.
It's been 9 books.
Jeez,
9 books, 9
bro.
months.
9 books. All right, ready for the review?
I know, dude. Everyone I tell cannot believe it. Everyone
Really?
I tell I'm reading books, and I'm like, oh, I've read like 9 books in the last 9 months. They're like, what? And I was like, I used to think the exact same thing.
Yeah, it's so
Dude,
crazy,
it's
bro.
honestly gotten so easy just to
does.
crush a
Yeah,
book.
yeah.
Dude, it does. Like, I literally just have my time for it now. Like, I
Yes.
just like my
Sit
time
and
for it. It
read.
doesn't even
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah, bro.
All right, here we go.
That's
So,
awesome.
Ready for the
61,
review?
book 8's wrapped. Time for book 9.
My book's at home, but
Book 9.
Oh, okay.
All right,
Oh, your book for the reveals at home?
Yeah.
You can use mine behind the couch
let's
since
go.
it's your book.
Let's go. Dun,
I saw it back there.
dun.
Here we go. Book number. Oh, no. Did it fall all the way down?
Oh, man.
There
Did
you
it-
go. You can reveal it. There it is.
Did it fall all the way
I
down?
think it did, bro.
That's hysterical.
Unless I'm just like reaching. Woo! Here we go.
It did
All right.
fall.
What is it? What is it called?
Imposter syndrome, no more.
Ooh, show the
So-
people. Yeah.
And
Looks
the
great.
bro, funniest thing, when I first picked this book up, I was touching the cover and I'm like, it just feels so nice. Like
It's just
this
ready to
material on
read.
here, yeah, for some reason.
Here, let's pass it around while you talk
yeah,
about
bro.
it. So you chose this book for what reason? other than-
So imposter syndrome, not like I don't have the clinical definition of it, but it's like the idea that you aren't worthy of what you have and what you've accomplished in life. I think
Hmm.
I spoke to my fiance about this a long time ago because she brought it up to me, and I never knew what it actually was. Like she was like, you might have imposter syndrome, and she was saying like she has it, and it was affecting her at the time, and I'm like, dang, that happens to me quite often. So what is
Interesting.
that? And yeah, it's imposter syndrome.
That's
So
what led to it.
yeah, I
like
wanted
that.
to just overcome self-doubt and imposterism to cultivate a successful career. I just wanted to read something about it just because I wanted to understand more about it and also see like how people are able to navigate while they, run into stuff like that.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, no,
So-
this is actually imposter syndrome is like a really big thing
Yeah.
in like the coding engineering field and stuff
Mhm.
like that because because
So many people doing
there's
it, right?
so many like if you're like in a big tech, company like Facebook, Google and stuff like that, like you
How-
think
How do you feel like you belong?
right, you just
Mhm.
don't feel like you belong.
Wow.
Yeah.
You see, I mean,
I
if you
didn't know
watch the
that.
movie
Yeah.
Google, like if you watch the movie Google, those guys in a weird way kind of didn't belong at the beginning, but by the time they got to the end of it, like they realized they were just like another human there working on the
Yeah.
Google device on
yeah.
the Google.
So no,
machine.
when I saw this come because I ordered it for Miguel, I was like, oh, this is gonna be an interesting read because
Sweet.
Wow.
I am curious. But yeah.
I'm excited. There's like, I don't know, there's like diagrams in there as
I gotta
well
see.
to like,
Oh yeah. Like formulas.
yeah,
Oh,
just
sweet.
like supposed to just help you navigate it all, honestly.
Excellent. All
Yeah.
right, so how many pages are
PhD.
we talking about?
There we go. That's
Is that
what I
what you're
was
looking?
just doing. Okay,
think
so
it's
there's
like
an
2
index. Wow, that's cool. Notes.
Big index guy, huh?
Okay, 235 is the last page.
235. Okay.
Does it
Starts
start on one?
at. Well, there's acknowledgments. Starts on 3.
So
Okay.
232 divided by 4.
Chapter 1. You might be a fraud.
Hey,
See?
calling you out. All right, 58 is roughly what we're looking at. So what's a good
58
chapter
pages.
stop for that?
Around
58.
chapter 4.
Chapter 4.
Starts at 57.
That's
Okay.
fantastic. All right, hey, can you make a little note in that for me? I think that one's mine. Is that one
No,
yours?
this
Oh,
one's
mine's
mine.
under. Sorry, mine's under the mine's under the couch.
But yeah, we'll get it. We'll get it after. But
Yeah.
sweet. Well, awesome. We're excited, guys.
Read up to
so
what?
read up to
57. Chapter 4.
read up to chapter 4, all the way through page 56 through
Yes.
3.
56.
Yes.
But yeah, no, we're excited, guys. This is Miguel's book, and so if you want to read it along, make sure to look up Imposter
Last book of the
Syndrome.
year.
No More. I know.
Yeah, that.
We'll be going into a
crazy.
new
I
year.
know. Crazy. And yeah, so
Yeah.
excited
Come
to
back and
read
see
it.
us.
Get the book.
Excited to
guys.
read.
Come
Get
back
the
and see
book.
us.
Make sure to tune in. Feel free to chat if you are watching our live streams. But
Check out the new logo.
yeah, peep the new logo,
Peep it.
guys. Hey, we're here for a long time. Don't you worry. I mean,
We're gonna be smart by
Can
the
you
end
imagine
of
when
this.
it's gonna be like 900 books or something?
We're gonna be
Right, yeah.
we're gonna have so
It's gonna
much
be
useless
insane.
information. Just gonna be just spewing it out. Just gotta talk to more
I
people.
don't think any.
Did you
information
know
is
that
useless.
rotor? What'd you say?
I don't think any information is useless.
That's
Just depends on the context when you bring it up.
Fair.
There's some information out there that surely could not serve too much of a purpose.
No, I don't think so.
What's a good example of that? Because I'm
What's a
like,
good
I'm
example?
straddling between this because I agree with Chase and I agree with Lance.
There's got to
So
be
it's like,
something useless.
Useless.
There's some stupid stuff out there. It's like, okay, that's a cool like thing, but
I think
I
it's
didn't
all
look
it's
it
all
up.
about context.
True.
Like
It's useless to have information about technology if you're Amish.
right, but
can't
if you're
use it.
talking, yeah,
Well,
but
it'd
it's
be
like,
useless information to know. I don't know.
right. But if you're talking to, like, for instance, like if you have that information and you're talking to an Amish, yeah, you shouldn't bring it up. But if you're talking to like
So it's
me or
useless.
Miguel, no.
Information. in
Well,
that context.
yes, it is because you're using
yeah,
it.
from
in
it'd be
context.
And-
useless. then.
yeah.
Yeah,
If you if you're an but that's why I use
the
my that's why I
information
use my
itself-
example. If you're an Amish person and you just know a lot about technology, useless. How do you argue that?
I mean,
No, I
in
don't
the
think so.
future,
I don't think
they
so because
could-
the physical information
The information is
is-
useless.
is
It cannot be acted upon.
is not.
What are you gonna do with it?
maybe one day they just change their mind, bro. They
And
might
not be
wake up
Amish?
and-
Then
yeah,
it
be
doesn't
like,
work.
I'm not
Then it's
Amish
no longer
anymore.
an example.
Yeah, but the information was still gained.
I don't know how
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's a
That's like-
bulletproof example, and I can't think of a second. I don't even know how I thought of that.
Well, it's like it's the same thing.
it's
like
kind of it's
okay,
pointless.
well,
It's-
information is like the same thing as money.
True.
It's useless unless you use it.
in the context.
if you save it, you can
Nah, see,
compound
you're
interest.
using it. I know, but you're using it
How?
because you're saving it.
That doesn't hold up.
Yeah, because you're putting it in a bank. You're using it.
No,
and
you're
no,
putting
no.
it.
The thing is you're not
You're
using it.
legitimately.
The bank is using it. That's
Well,
why you get
That's
the
not up
interest.
to me. They're not supposed to be. I didn't tell them to.
But if you just had $100 and you put the $100 underneath your bed, that money is useless.
I think the Amish example wins. You
No,
couldn't.
I agree. I agree with your example.
Well, then all I was trying to do was win the argument.
no, it's not. No.
The
It's not-
discussion. The discussion.
It's not an argument.
It doesn't have
or
to be an
discussion,
argument. It's not a close one. It's not a close one.
Oh my god.
Okay,
It's
we'll
the
leave.
Comment down
context.
below.
It's the context.
Yeah,
below.
you can comment
It's
down below. The
learning.
context definitely matters. I was just trying to give you an example where it would. I agree with the context matters. All right, here we go. So now we'll break it down. Book club's over. Let's go through our short snippets.
Short snippets.
But before you guys go, I'll go first because mine kind of piggybacks off the book.
Ooh,
So
nice, okay.
with my short snippet, since I got to pick out that book, obviously it was the first autobiography that we did, and I chose Chris Paul because I wanted to learn a little bit more about him. If we were gonna keep this theme going and roll off 2 more autobiographies, who are 2 people you guys would choose right now, or just a person from each of you
I'll
that
do
you would
one.
choose to read
I'll
about?
do one for sure. Right off the top of my head, I'll do
Autobiography?
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Okay. It's interesting.
Immediately.
I don't even.
Who's
I
a
don't
person
know.
like who they got an autobiography? Like, oh, okay, I would read that. I want to know more about how they got to be who they are.
Bro, I don't even know. Like, I can't think of one right now.
Spur of the moment, we got him. We stumped him.
Dang. You got him.
Can't
He's
We
think of
stumped
frozen.
him.
Jeez.
It's
Elon
under
is,
pressure.
Elon's a very good one, though. I will say that. Elon's definitely an interesting human that I would want to understand a little bit more. Dang, bro. I don't know. Can we get a
Yeah,
fun
no, we'll
fact
move.
in?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get it. Let's get it.
We'll circle around for him.
All right, that
All
wraps.
right.
Fun
Fun
fact.
fun fact. We got 2 today. Fun
we go.
facts of the day is this one's actually really
Are
interesting.
they both fun?
No.
Okay.
It takes 5 positive things to outweigh a single negative thing.
Mm.
I feel like we've heard that one.
It makes sense. It's relatable. It makes
It's
sense.
true.
Because
It's true. I think we've heard it in different ways, like
Yeah.
bad habits to outdo good habits. What was that one again? It was 5 positive things.
Positive things outweigh a single negative
Dude,
thing.
that's a lot though. If you really think about it,
it
I
is.
know.
that's a lot of positivity you need. Imagine like
Well, it's
Mm.
the opposite. Yeah, it's how crazy is one negative thing can really.
exactly.
It really, yeah.
you need a
it'll really
surge of
affect you.
positivity
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
fighting off the negative.
Yeah.
So crazy. I mean, our brains are wired like that, though. I feel like that was one of your facts previously. Is that our
Those
brains,
pathways.
like, they naturally go to being negative.
Speaking of brains,
There
fun
we go.
fact of the day, part 2. Our brains want us to be lazy.
Like that.
I feel like that's like the default like human setting.
Path of
Yeah.
least resistance.
I do, because the same way with Chris Paul, I feel like in the opposite, sometimes you can be trained to like not want to be lazy. Like you always want to be going. So I do feel like the default human setting is like your brains just want to be lazy. I agree with that.
I think even
If it's a fact, I
I
don't know why we try and debate it. It's
I
a
think it-
fact, right?
I
It's not
mean,
like-
that's it's the
it's just-
fact app. So, but I mean, even for Chris Paul though, I'm for sure he's fighting being lazy. Fighting. I mean,
Oh,
no one wants to wake up at 5 a.m. and go train.
It's more like that's what I'm saying. It's like you're inspired to not be lazy.
Yeah.
But you need some like that's
You
what I'm
always
saying.
have
Like
that
if you don't
thought.
have something inspiring you to not be lazy, like your job or your something, yeah, like your brain defaults to just like, oh, I have no purpose. That's what I'm saying. Like you don't have the community, don't have purpose, you just want to be lazy.
Yeah. There you go. All right.
I think
Miguel?
I figured it out.
Okay, who would all right, first
Oh,
off,
you got it.
first
you got
off,
your
who- yeah,
autobiography?
So,
give us your book real
This
quick,
is
or who you'd read a
super
book about.
random. I had this thought as I was driving back home from Jacksonville too. Austin Rivers is Doc Rivers, an NBA head coach. He's won a championship. His son Austin Rivers, super well known in Florida. He was like
Yeah.
player of the year during his time in Florida
Forgot
for
about
high
that.
school basketball. He won back-to-back states. He was averaging like 40 points a game.
Highlight tape was crazy.
Yeah, and like he came to Jacksonville and played one of our best teams, and he had like 40 points and he only played 3 quarters. And I just remember this story so much because he was like a myth almost, because people were literally like they were just standing in the gym. Anywhere you could stand in the gym, they were standing. Like people were hanging off the side of the bleachers just trying to watch him play.
Wow.
And he goes from that. I mean, he's had a pretty solid NBA career. Don't get me wrong. No disrespect to Austin Rivers.
He'll call
at
you
all.
out. He'll call you out for
Yeah.
it too. That guy is.
No disrespect, bro. Trust me. But I just I want to know, like, what happened along the way for him to be. He was projected so high and to do so
Went to
well.
Duke.
Yeah, he went to Duke, did
Was
amazing.
killing North Carolina.
Yeah,
Hitting game winners.
and like
Confident as can be.
now I don't even know where he is now.
That's amazing you say that, dude. He is literally in media. So he is
Wow.
now on First Take with Stephen A. Smith doing full-blown NBA media.
Wow.
So he was just on the Nuggets, I think, like last year. Like he was in the league
Yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
recently. So he is now, I think I don't know if he's a free agent, taking some gap time, but he's like on First Take now. And he would be so fascinating because he is someone, I feel like you could liken it to Gilbert Arenas, who's like a real hoop head.
Yes.
Who is like, I mean, there's certain people like you're gonna disagree with them, but like they're not changing their mind.
Mhm.
Kenyon Martin, Gilbert Arenas, and I would say, literally the same type of way. Austin Rivers, like he grew up like in an NBA locker room. Like
Right.
those are always fun stories. Like that would be a really interesting guy because I know
Yeah.
what he's up to now. Like he's already on a whole different leaf. So
Right.
and the way he talks is like he's very articulate. I think he has his own podcast.
Mhm.
Austin Rivers would be a really good one.
I feel like that
That's-
would be good.
that's- I
Just
did not
to
expect
see
that.
that there's so many highs and lows to his like, but
And if he views it that way, or like because like
Right.
especially these podcasts, they'll let you know like how some people really just got undercut in their
Mhm.
career.
mhm.
And I think that that's like going to literally make organizations just like on the long term, it's going to make them have to operate differently.
I
You
agree.
can't you cannot now behind closed doors say I'm going to give James Harden a supermax
Mhm.
and then not because
Yeah.
he will call you a liar in China. He will go on a podcast and talk about it. Like you can no longer just be like, oh, that player's a loose cannon and stuff. Like he'll just be like, hey, this was said. If you want to come out and dispute it, you're gonna have to do that.
That's very true.
You know
though.
what I'm saying,
Like that's so interesting,
dude?
man.
It's crazy and it's already happening.
yeah.
It's literally it happened this past summer. It happened like from 4 different guys.
Mhm.
We're doing it. Like I was just like, this is gonna be because you can no longer just operate however you want to operate.
Mhm.
Like
And
what you
that-
say is going to come out, and obviously like to a certain extent it's been that way all along, but I just feel it's a little more
It's all talk until it's written down.
Yeah.
It's
Very
all
true.
talk.
Very true.
exactly, but like but then again, if you're the type of business that says you're going to give supermaxes and then doesn't, free agents don't come to you. Like that's the full circle swing of it. It's like, hey, like, oh, why would you go play for the Sixers? They're known to say they're going to pay you money and then not. Like that's the way that stuff goes. You can kill narratives, but tell me it's not.
Well, I mean, the only thing is, there's only so many teams
There's
you
only
can go to.
right. There's
Sure.
only
You
so many
know?
teams, but there's 30. There's 30 teams.
But you think all 30 are asking for free agents, stuff like that?
Depends on the
Well,
player. Only
well, they
certain
pay.
players can do it. Only certain
Yeah,
players
that's
can do it,
fair.
right?
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
be honest.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, if you do it to certain players, especially the ones like do that to Damian Lillard, maybe he stays quiet. Do it to James Harden,
Oh, he's gonna say
he's
something.
probably gonna say something.
He's definitely
So,
gonna say
It's like one of those things. Like, so it'll be interesting.
That's
But
great.
right, we got to get to
Okay.
our quote, right?
Yeah,
Our
and then
quote,
we
Quote of the
can
day, and then
I
we'll
like
wrap
this.
it up.
We'll wrap it up.
All right. Do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better.
Ooh,
That's good.
I like
That was a really good one. Who is it by?
Maya Angelou.
Who?
Maya Angelou.
Maya
Maya
Angelou.
Angelou?
Shout out to your you shouted her out in the book
Oh yeah, that's
for
right.
her other quote.
Oh, was that?
Yeah.
Oh, you got a second quote from her.
Yep.
Maya Angelou had a
Oh,
quote in the
Maya.
book.
Mhm.
I heard Maya Angelou.
No,
I was
no,
like,
no,
who's
sorry.
your Angelo?
No, Maya Angelou. That's right. I was like, why does that name sound so
Oh
familiar?
my god.
That's good. Yeah, that's a good quote.
yeah.
Just work
Shout out
hard.
to her. Yeah.
Just work hard. So many people are just out there trying to not. You realize people try harder to like not work hard sometimes.
yeah.
I used to be like someone make me mad. I'd be like, I'm not gonna do this. You end up working harder to not work hard.
yeah.
Just work hard.
Just do what you're supposed to do.
Just work
honestly.
hard.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that wraps up another fantastic book from the Book Club Bros.
There we go.
I don't know.
We're gonna have
why.
that down. Book.
I know.
Book
We got the
9.
new logo and everything.
I know we got to get it down. We got to get
That
talk about that.
concludes Book 8 of the Book Club Bros.
good
And
delivery there.
we are off next to the Imposter Syndrome No More for Miguel's book, guys. So grab this on Amazon. Give us a little bit of commissions. Help support the podcast. And if not, like, subscribe, and follow for more.
Here, I'll give it to Miguel. Miguel can wrap us out of here with you with the
Hold
book
it
in his
quick.
hand, and you can say peace. All right,
All
well,
right,
that wraps
guys.
up the podcast.
Peace.